This is the Samsung Q950R. Well, in the UK it is anyway. In the US it's called the Q900R. Now what's interesting about this TV is it's one of the first readily available 8K TVs to go into production. But it's not really the 8K material that makes this TV interesting, it's the 8K upscaling, because that's what's really going to be of interest to most people, because at the moment there's just so little 8K content around. Let's take a closer look. So the headline of this TV is the fact that it's a QLED 8K, but really that is one of the more insignificant features. Because yes, without doubt, when you put it into retail mode and you actually stand in front of one of these sets and watch that glorious 8K, you will, I guarantee you, be blown away. And I definitely recommend, if you get the opportunity to go to a retail store, then definitely do that and just see how good this is, because certainly this video won't do it justice. But that isn't really relevant to where we are in today's market, because there is just so little 8K footage available. What I think is the more interesting thing about this TV is the 8K upscaling. So it uses a quantum processor AI chip and effectively turns 1080p and 4K footage into 8K footage. Now that could be a game changer, so we'll come on and look at that in just a second and just see how well it does. So in theory, with that 8K, that is 7,680 pixels by 4,320, which is over 33 million pixels. Now that is more than 4 times the detail of 4K, and so it's going to be interesting just to see where this technology leads to. Now in terms of the design of the TV, there isn't really anything groundbreaking here. It's a fairly standard panel, it hasn't got the smallest bezels, and it certainly isn't the thinnest TV. This, being an LCD panel, means that you've got the backlit screen, and so therefore it will always be thicker than something like an OLED. This is the bezel around the edge, and as you can see, it's not big, but it's certainly not small. This model comes with Samsung's One Connect box, which means it's connected just via one cable, and that gives you consistency in the thickness all the way up and down the panel. And with Samsung's no gap wall mount, effectively it means that you can flushly mount this right against the wall with no gap at all. And in some ways I think that's better than the OLED panels, which are very thin at the top but have still got that little butt that kicks out. There's also a couple of nice features with the legs if you do choose to have it sat on them. There's the cable management system built into the back, so again there's just the one cable that connects this TV, and you can easily hide that if you wish down the back of these legs. There's also the option to position the legs in 2 different areas. You can either have them very wide mounted and have them on either end, or like I've got here, you can have them centrally mounted. And if you're not using the legs, they actually will stow in the back of the panel, so you never have the fear of losing them. And you've got the same Visa mount if you want to use a different type of wall mount. Again, I feel Samsung have thought about if you want to have this flush mounted using their no gap wall mount, because when you plug the One Connect cable in, you've got a number of different options that you can take that cable out of the TV. So as you can see, you've got the channel running up and to the right, down and to the bottom, and then down to the middle, or you can take it all the way over the other side as well. The One Connect box which comes with this version is a lot bigger than previous models, but it has got absolutely everything built into it, and I really like this system of having everything separate, connecting via one cable. I think that it may allow for future upgrades just of the box rather than the whole TV itself. There's 4 HDMI at 18 gigabits per second, and you've got one audio return channel. I really love the controller that comes with the European version. Now I'm not sure whether this is the same in the United States, maybe someone can leave a comment and let me know, because I have seen black plastic versions of this type of controller kicking around. But here anyway in Europe we get this brushed metal effect, it's got dedicated Netflix and Prime Video buttons, this can double up as a one for all and it's super easy to connect to your other devices. You do also get a standard black controller if you want to use it, but this is just really nice to operate, really nice and simple to use, and I think it's a definite very good addition to this TV set. Okay, it's time to set this thing up now, and again, if you're familiar with other Samsung TVs, then you'll be familiar with the SmartThings app, and again, it's very self-explanatory. I'm not going to bore you with going through the whole rigmarole of setting it up with the app in this video. However, if that would be useful for you, then let me know and I will do a separate video. However, just follow the on-screen instructions if you're using the remote or the app, and you'll be set up in no time. Now, this TV uses the same Tizen interface, which is one of my favorites on any smart TV. I think it's one of the most intuitive. Everything is customizable. You can move things about and put things where you want, and nothing seems to be missing. It really is an intelligent software. Now, what you'll notice when you go through the setup process, which I haven't obviously gone through in this video, is that you plug all your devices in and you'll be amazed how quickly and how easily that they're all set up. It's just done pretty much automatically. That goes for the same thing as setting up the controllers as well to operate all of your different devices. It really is the best that we've seen on any TV. Let me know, guys, if you've seen one which is better, but I think Samsung have this absolutely nailed in terms of the setup and function process of all of your different devices. Now, if you're not familiar with the Tizen interface, it really is very simple. You literally press the home button and then everything pops up from the bottom. You have the universal guide, which will give you pretty much an overview of all of the different things that you've got installed. It will give you what's popular on certain apps, what's the latest, and you've got access to things like renting movies and latest releases directly. Now, depending on your location in the world will depend on what apps get pre-installed and also what apps are available to you. But obviously all the normal things like Netflix, they are there and already included. You've also got Prime Video, again, already there, and you can get on that straight away. And again, they're very good versions. And you've got the addition of the Apple TV app, which again, I think is a really nice feature. Just means that you don't have to have a separate Apple TV. You can very easily add to that home shortcut bar with either a source that you've got plugged in or an app. It's very simple. So for instance, I've just selected Sky and added that to the home. It went to the far right end. I want to have it right at the beginning because it's one of the things I use most of the time. And there I just drag it and leave it in place. And there you go, it's there. And similarly, if I wanted to reposition any of these, I just go along and click move and put them to the order that I would probably use them in. Or I would recommend that you do that anyway, just for, again, speed of use. And again, when you do choose to download an app, you can do exactly the same with that. You can just put it wherever you want. Okay, my friends, you've been very patient. Now it's time to show you some more footage that this TV can produce. Now, a couple of things just to mention is that this is 4K footage that you're seeing upscaled to 8K, and I'm filming it with a 4K camera. If there is a slight flicker every now and then, that's the camera. That's nothing to do with the TV. Now, what we've noticed straight away with this upscaling is it just seems to have got a lot closer to OLED in the term of how it looks. The black levels, certainly if you're sitting face on or to around about 35 degrees of an angle, the black levels, I don't think I would be able to tell them apart from an OLED TV. They are insanely good, and I'm hoping that that will pick up on the video that you're seeing here. If, however, you do go 35 to 45 degrees and more, then you definitely notice the black level diminishing. So if you've got a setup that you're going to be on that type of angle, why would you anyway? I don't know, but bear that in mind because that is going to be a little bit of an issue. But in terms of the vividness, the colors, the brightness, absolutely incredibly good and definitely a marked improvement from standard 4K footage. Now, watching things on this TV has been an absolute joy, and it doesn't really matter. It comes down to you as the individual. If you're sat there with a pretty good TV and you don't really have any intention of upgrading straight away, well then this isn't going to press that button. This isn't going to make you go out and get it. However, if you're already in the market to purchase a top-end TV, well then what you've really got to ask yourself is it worth spending that little bit more than what you're already going to spend and get something which is just going to get better and better over time. You may be surprised to hear that the average person keeps a TV for between 4 and 10 years, so let's call it 6 years. Now, what we do know is that there will be a lot of changes in 6 years' time, or in 4 years, or in 3 years' time, and there'll be a lot more 8K footage available. So maybe purchasing one of these today, maybe you're just future-proofing yourself. Now, a couple of other things that Samsung have done with this TV, and they do with a number of their TVs, they have a ultra wide viewing angle layer on it, so it means that you do get better viewing angles. But as I discussed earlier in my test, I found that the black levels did dim once you went past around 40 degrees. There's also the anti-reflective film or layer which they put over it, and that does a really good job of stopping reflections. In fact, it's renowned for being one of the best in the industry. On previous models, there's been issues that that's had an effectiveness on the brightness, the colors, and the black levels. Doesn't seem to be the case in this model. Certainly didn't notice any anyway. Really was very impressed with that anti-reflective surface, because this, as you look at the TV now, is directly opposite a window. Now, there are so many features on this TV, there are really just too many to talk about, but here's a few others as well. Some highlights here are the fact that there is a Bixby voice assistant built in, which works really well. Very, very accurate, didn't have any problems here. Casting and AirPlay again is built in. You've got fast response times, and also the input lag is again very good if you're gaming in 4K. Okay, so there's just a few things left that we want to show you. One of these is the menu system and how you navigate through, and I'll show you that first, and then we'll go on and talk to you about ambient mode. And remember, at the end of this, I'll show you that 8K footage. Okay, so the menu system is very intuitive and very straightforward. What I like about it is it's split really into those that want to play and have complete control and go into expert settings, and those that just want to go into the main settings. So, for instance, here on picture mode, there's movie, natural, standard, and dynamic. There isn't anything else. But if you do want to go in and make some adjustments, then you can go down to expert settings, and then you can go in and make all the changes that you like. And it really does go into a lot of detail. Now, I found that movie mode was the most realistic and most accurate, but I did then want to go in and make some changes. You can change things like the auto motion settings, and that will be if you want something more natural, like when you're watching a movie, rather than like the soap opera effect. And you can do things like local dimming, which has a benefit if you're noticing that maybe you're getting some hazing or some blooming. Now, there are so many other things here, I won't go through all of them, but as you can see, you can go in and have complete full control. Now, I'm certainly no expert when it comes to calibration. I've literally just done it to my own eye. If you are looking for much more detail about the techie side of this TV and you really want to go into the detail, then I recommend that you check out a channel called HDV Test. Vincent over there, what he doesn't know about TVs isn't worth knowing. He is a professional calibrator as well. And there's also a website, rtings or ratings.com, which is a very good website and again goes into a lot of detail and really puts these TVs to the test. That's something which the geeky people amongst you, or the techie ones, may want to check out. Okay, the final thing now is the ambient mode, and this is where you can have your TV, I guess, feel more part of the room rather than this big black square on the wall. I guess that's what it's for, and that's what it's designed for. How many people actually use it? I'm not sure, but there are a number of different things that you can do. You can have screensaver type backgrounds like this, which will just rotate through different lights, and again it looks okay, but it still just looks a little bit odd. Even odder is the butterfly one. Or you can have this almost wind chime effect, and on some of these you do actually get sounds as well. You can choose just to have a picture like this, or you can have it scrolling through the news headlines and getting the latest information coming through directly on the screen. There are literally hundreds of different things that you can do with the background, and again you can vary it up. You can have your own photograph scrolling, for instance. It's literally up to you. Now, this is probably an area where again you'll see this develop and improve as time goes on, and you'll probably get a lot more things being linked in. Maybe your social media, for instance, could be coming in. I don't know. There is a good example of ambient mode, and you can even set this to blend in with the background. It didn't work very well for me because if you look at the background around my TV, I've got bookshelves and ornaments and all sorts, and so therefore it just didn't do a good job. But if you've got a plain background, or maybe like a wooden wall, for instance, then it will probably do a lot better job of that. And that's something which I would have liked to have tested in my other room, but unfortunately I've got an inbuilt TV. But again, this is something which you can play around with, you can choose to use. It's just a nice feature to have, and again I think it's nice that they're just thinking about these things being more than just TVs, and maybe one day it will be almost like your personal assistant on the wall. Okay, so guys, now it's time to show you that 8K footage, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you what I think are the main pros and the main cons about this TV. So as I've said in the review, there really is so many positives. It is quite an incredible machine. The first is the 8K image. Now, it doesn't come across on the screen, I know guys, but please do go to a retail outlet and have a look at this 8K footage. It's impressive. As is the 8K upscaling. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's 4K Ultra HD or whether it's 1080p, it does an incredible job. It's also got the best remote that we've ever seen. It's really lovely to use. It's one for all. It will program everything and does a great job. And we've got the operating system, which again is just very easy to work your way through, and I love the layout. It is not glitchy or buggy at all. There are very few negatives. One of the main ones, and it's really surprising, that this doesn't support Dolby Vision, and that is a real surprise for a TV in this price range. And the other one is the fact that you are still paying that early adopter price tag. Now, we know with TVs the price will continue to drop and drop, but at the moment the price is still pretty high. I will leave some links in the description. I'll find in a hopefully location that you're at where you can see what the latest price is. But enjoy the rest of this footage, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video, guys.